Welcome to Backwoods Pursuit. I'm Gabe Garish, and today we're going to take a look at the Pelican Air 1745 compound bow hard case. If you're in the market for a bow hard case, this is definitely one to take a look at. It's super versatile, offers a lot of features, and I was able to use this over the course of the last year or so. Put it through the ringer, put it in the back of the truck, through rainstorms, bounced around, strapped down next to the motorcycle, and I was able to find a lot of things I liked about it and a few things that I didn't. I'm going to bring you those in this video, as well as the overall performance and how this Pelican Air bow case did for me over the last year. Really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put links to those down in the description, as well as a link to our website, backwoodsPursuit.com. Lots of gear reviews over there, and I will also put a link to this Pelican Air 1745 bow case for you so you can check it out for yourself. Let's get started. All right, to get started, let's take a look at some of the specs and details of this Pelican bow case. This is a hard case, as you can see. It's not as lightweight as, say, something like your Plano cases out there. Those are going to be a little bit lighter, but this is much more durable and much more feature-rich. And because of that, it weighs a little bit more than that, but still quite a bit lighter weight than some of the other options out there that are hard cases that allow you to travel with something like this. It has wheels that allow you to pull it through the airport, as well as a locking mechanism. So it gives you all those features, but it still retains a nice lightweight at just over 23 pounds. Now, shape-wise, you can tell it's a rectangular shape. It's just under 8 inches deep and just under 17 inches wide in this regard. And then lengthwise, according to my measurements, it was just over 43 inches in length. So it's going to fit just about every compound bow you might want to shoot out there as far as what's going to fit in this case. So it fit my Bowtech Realm SR6, which is a 32-inch axle-to-axle bow, very, very easily with a lot of room to spare. So you're going to have plenty of space in this for not only your bow, but a bunch of accessories. Getting into some more of the features here, you've got stainless steel protected padlock, so you can travel and fly with this. You have 6 of the famous Pelican push button click lock areas. So you've got 4 in the front here and then 1 on either side to make sure that this thing is waterproof and dustproof and crush proof as well, with the polypropylene blend that they use, the Pelican uses. It is a proprietary blend, so it has a little bit of flex to it, but it is extremely durable, and so far it's been great for me. I haven't had any issues, and it is nice and quick to go ahead and push the buttons or the latches closed there, and it is locking as well, so if you need to lock that, it gives you that ability. Really a nice setup, and I am a big fan of the Pelican latches. They've been really good to me, and they're really easy to open, and they do a good job of sealing the case shut. Now, moving to the inside of the cases, where it kind of gets interesting. There's a lot of unique features with this Pelican Air bow case that you don't get with a lot of other bow cases out there. You've got a ton of modularity to where you can put your arrows, extra arrows here on a movable arrow quiver, and so you can fit up to 5 arrows there. If you are one who uses an arrow tube, you can attach that there and adjust that. You can move all of these around on these webbing systems here, and it makes it really, really universal, so you can make this exactly the way that you want. You've got 2 storage compartments here, and then store some extra gear and some bowstring wax and that kind of thing, whatever you want to put in there. And then also you've got a divider here with another pocket on the top of the divider, so if you want to put an extra release or whatever there, and that is very nice. And then there's also buckles on the top of this divider, which you can go ahead and click onto that, so that that's going to allow the lid and the divider to more or less be attached. So if you close the lid and you want that divider to be opening with the lid, so you don't have to fight with the lid, that allows you to do that. Or if you don't want that set up that way, you can take straps here on the bottom and then wrap that around your bow to protect the bow itself and give it a little extra compression to the case itself. Now, putting your bow in the case is nice and easy once you get the bungees and the design set up to your specific bow. Again, it's really adjustable, so you can set it up however you need to for your bow. So I'm going to go ahead and set it in here. I've, of course, already set this up to my bow, and it uses a unique system to attach the bow to the interior of the case. There's real nice thick foam throughout the inside of the case, so it's really well protected. There's no need for any additional foam unless you want to. Now these little foam pieces are kind of just guides for where you're going to put your bow. You know, really I don't think you even need them, but I put them in here anyways just because they came with it. Now the bow attaches to the interior in a kind of a unique way. It utilizes this bungee system. Now, of course, you can put it anywhere on your riser, and it adjusts anywhere up and down these sewn in loops here. But for mine, it works really well just to go ahead and go right through the riser right there, and it's going to attach right there, and then you can go ahead and push that, and it's going to lock onto your riser right there. So that's one on this side, and there's two down on that end, and then another one up here on the top end of this riser. Now I did find that, you know, depending on your bow, it can be a little bit cumbersome to get this in and out. It's not my favorite system for attachment, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. Grab your bungee, hook it in there, and then pull it down, and then push that plastic piece in there, give it a tug, and it's going to keep that nice and secure. Now, as you can see here, I've got my quiver on, so it's fitting just fine, and this will go ahead and lay over the top of the bow. Again, quiver's on there. Now I did detach my rear stabilizer, my rear back bar, and my stabilizer because that's a 10-inch stabilizer, and so it's of course not going to fit. So I went ahead and just utilized these top loops here to store those with the case. But if for purposes of showing you this here, it does fit the bow and the quiver fully loaded, and just latches down just like that, and that gives that just a little bit extra. Not that you need it, but you can even tighten that down if you want to, and it's going to make sure that those the arrows and whatnot stay right where they're supposed to be. Now, one other thing that I found is that these foam pieces here, there's 4 of them in the case, or they come with it. They're attached via a Velcro there, and they can again be moved up and down anywhere on that strap or any of the 4 straps. But you got one there, and then one there, and then one over on the corner there. They really don't do a lot. They don't give you a whole lot of extra protection. They're not really extra foam that provides extra cushion or whatnot. They're more for alignment purposes. At least that's what I found. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Leave me a comment if I've got this wrong, but that's the way I understood the setup. But they don't provide extra cushion, and they're not super secure in there. They kind of flop around a little bit. So I didn't find them to be all that useful personally. Could just assume leave them out of the case, and they wouldn't that wouldn't bother me whatsoever. But I put them in there because they came with it, and they do help with aligning the bow, so that when you go to bungee, it did help with the alignment a little bit on setting up the bow in the case so that the bungees are the same every time you go ahead and put it in there. Now for how it performed for me out in the field while I was using it and carrying it all over the roads and the mountains and whatnot. I loved the protection that this gave my bow. It's able to securely lock this down, keep it in place, and I drove through some rainstorms, some rough roads, and it was perfectly dry on the inside, and the case stayed out in the rain for quite some time, several days on end, and it was perfectly dry on the inside of the case. I did that on purpose to see how well it would keep water out, and it did great. It does secure the bow very well, but like I talked about earlier, the bungee system is just okay. It's not my favorite. It's a little cumbersome. The bungees can move on you a little bit, but it does a good job of keeping the bow in place as well. The latch systems here I really do like. One thing to note about the latch here is that the latches don't fall down and get in the way of closing or opening. So if you open it, it kind of stays open like that until you go all the way and click it shut. So you push that button, you can kind of feel there's a detent right in there that keeps it either below this position right there, so it's going to easily latch, or if you go above that, it's going to keep the latch up and out of the way, so you're never going to have that latch fall down and get in the way or go too far in and keep that lid from closing, which is really nice, and I really do like that. So one of the things I really like about that is the Pelican lock systems here. The latch systems are some of my favorites. I really do like them. They work really well, and there's 6 of them on this, so you know not only the front is going to be secure, you're not going to have either of the ends popping up on you, and it does keep that really nice and dry, really nice and secure, and protected from the elements. Another thing that this offers you, particularly if you're traveling via air, you've got a pressure release valve, so you're not going to have that situation where, if you've ever experienced it, say with coolers or whatnot, if you have a big change in elevation, sometimes it can be hard to open the lid on something, and it takes prying that lid open. So that pressure release valve right there eliminates that problem, which is nice if you are traveling. Now for some pros and cons here. Start with the pros. I like, of course, the protection that this gives your bow. Love the versatility, as we've already talked about. Won't go over that again. Just a million ways to set this up. It locks. It's got your pressure release valve for airline travel. You got 6 latches here, so you're going to make sure that that is going to be absolutely secure, and you're not going to have that open by chance. Again, with the locking mechanisms there, and you have stainless steel reinforced padlock areas, and then the case itself locks on top of that. So you got plenty of security there. The high density foam throughout the interior, I love that. I love that it's on wheels. It has a pull handle on this side and then wheels on that side. So if you're going through the airport, it makes it a lot easier than carrying this. Now it is relatively lightweight at just over 23 pounds. Not the lightest out there, but for something that you can travel with on an airplane and feel safe that your bow is going to arrive safely, it's pretty lightweight. It's up to 40% lighter than others is what they say, but that is pretty darn lightweight. It does feel, it's a little flexible, more flexible than you would think, but they tout that it's crush resistant and waterproof and whatnot. So I've never had any issues with it. I've strapped this down with some ratchet bungee straps in the back of the truck to make sure it doesn't go anywhere on the open road. Never had any issues whatsoever. Of course, scuffed it up a little bit and whatnot, but that's to be expected. So it's been great that way. Overall, really enjoyed it. There are a few things though that I don't really love about it. If I was to be picky here, I do wish that the ways that these attach to the outside were a little more firm, that there was maybe a way to tighten down these latches so that you had a little bit, it basically made this a little more difficult to get an arrow out of the quiver. So if you just grab it and try to pull on it, it's a little bit, it wants to pull the lid shut and it's just a little wobbly. So you kind of have to press on it to pull the arrow out. This makes it a little more cumbersome to get the arrows out of the quiver. And that can be said for really any of the attachment points because they don't secure really tightly to the outside. So that's one of the things I do wish was a little bit better. Another is that this strap, like I mentioned here, gets in the way of getting your arrows out. They kind of just hang right there. So either take these out, or if you want to use them like I did as well here and keep them on there, just tuck them behind here when you're not using them, but when you are, go ahead and strap them on like that. The setup on the interior here was a little bit cumbersome. I had to watch the Pelican videos on how to do that. And I didn't really love the foam inserts here. They didn't do what I thought that they were going to do when I saw the pictures. It would be kind of nice if there was a way to, again, more securely attach these foam pieces, these 4 foam pieces, to the case itself, so they're actually wedging the bow in there. And at the end of the day, though, it didn't make any difference, and you're able to really securely attach the bow and keep it in there, and it doesn't go anywhere at all. So it did a great job, but it just, optically, it seems like there'd be a better way to do that, to make sure that that is snugging the bow in the case a little bit better. Now, lastly, this bungee system, again, like I mentioned earlier, is not my favorite. It's a little bit cumbersome, particularly if it's cold and your hands, you're not feeling your hands too well. It can be a little bit difficult to get those to attach just right, and they can come out pretty easily if you go accidentally pull that out of the loop. Then you have to reinsert the bungee system there. Seems like there could be a little better way to do that, but the bungee system does allow you a ton of versatility and a ton of ways to set that up. So I get why they did it, but it wasn't my favorite overall as far as the way that this is set up, and combined with the ways that this can be set up and the number of ways that it can be set up, it can be a little overwhelming to get this dialed in just the way you like it. But once you do, once you get the hang of it, it is really nice and it works really, really well. So that is the Pelican Air 1745 bow case. It is really a nice case. It is a nice hard case that you can travel with if you need to. Stick in the back of your truck like I did, drive a bunch of miles to your hunt, and you're going to be fully protected from wind, rain, dust. It's crush proof. I strapped it down, like I mentioned, with a bungee strap or a ratchet strap for holding a motorcycle in there, and it It'll flex a little bit, but it's not going to break on you. And they have an awesome lifetime warranty. Pelican stands behind their products, so you can rest assured in that regard. Drop any questions or comments. Happy to help if I can, or answer any questions about this, or about the setup, or the use, or whatnot that I took it through. Happy to help in any way I can. Thanks for watching here today, and we will see you next time.